Alright fellas, so I figured I'd start with the Ryan first since it seems to be the easiest to repair. So I did some research, and Ryan is basically the grandfather of Ryobi. Ryobi bought them out sometime in the late 80s, early 90s. So this trimmer has to be from the early 90s, late 80s. This is the short shaft version, so it's a 29cc, I believe. It's the clutchless model, so when the engine runs, the head will spin, as you can see. At least the fuel filter is in there, so I won't have to go out and get one. This one seems to only use one fuel line right here, so I think this will be the quickest trimmer to be put back on the road. Not as many lines. Okay, I got the cover off, but man, this sponge filter is so brittle I can't even touch it. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that. I could just make my own, but there's part of the fuel line. It's rock hard. So what we're gonna do is, so as always, I always do the carb cleaner test. Make sure it's got a working ignition system. So we're gonna spray it right in there and see if it fires. Our moment of truth, will she start? I might have to put the camera down, I'm not sure. Ooh, she fired. That's a good sign. Okay, so now that we determined that the ignition system works, we can continue on. I'm pretty sure that we'll have to go to the carburetor for this. I have pretty sure that the carburetor will need to be looked at. I always like to check the diaphragms, make sure they're good. If they're not, then this thing's not gonna work. I won't just put a fuel line in it and try it, because that's a waste of time. Also, I think I'm just gonna replace that foam filter. I'll make myself a new foam filter somehow to replace that brittle one, because that one is going to disintegrate soon after I touch it. Alright. Come on. There we go. Out she comes. I might have to get a Phillips in there or something. Oh, it just comes right off. Okay, so I got the metering cover off, and I'm feeling this diaphragm, and it actually doesn't feel too bad, actually. Feels like it's pliable, so it should work. It's not like crispy or anything, so I'm gonna trust this one. So I'm gonna go find some fuel line. I'll be right back. This is the fuel filter that I found in the tank. It's in pretty good shape. Well, my strip isn't long enough, so I have to go get another one. I decided to be a little creative and take that ring from the bottom of the filter and put it on the outside. So now, that's a sealed area. So I just gotta cut this to size, and we'll get this thing up and running in no time. Okay, so I got my fuel lines ran. It's kind of weird that I said fuel lines. It's only just using one, so I should say line, but anyway, we're gonna put the cover back on and fill it up with gas and test it for leaks. I don't know if you can see in there. This gas tank is not really yellowed. They came like this from the factory, in case you want to know. Okay, I got her back together, And it's a very weird choke system. Check that out. So I don't know if you can see in there or not. Let me turn my flashlight on, see if that helps. Can you guys see in there? Let me... there's too much sunshine, so you can't really tell, but there's this little plastic rod that goes into the carburetor. So if this is choked, the plastic piece extends all the way out inside the carburetor throat, and then when I turn this, it moves away, and then when I turn it to run, it's completely off of the carburetor throat. So very interesting on how it works. Now for now, I'm going to run this without a filter, but I'll make myself a new foam filter eventually when I have the time. So let's fill it up with gas and see if it leaks or not. And then we'll try to fire it up, as long as it doesn't leak. Okay, I got a little bit of gas in there, and we're just gonna let it chill in there for just a couple minutes. And if there's no fuel on the concrete, then I know it's good. And then we'll try to start it. So far, everything's dry in here. I looked in there, there's nothing wet. Alright guys, moment of truth, here we go. I'm gonna do this without squeezing the trigger. That recoil's starting to bind a little bit. There it goes. So just fired. Put it in half. I'm not going to take it to run yet. Okay. We'll try run. Alright, I think it needs a little bit of throttle input, so I'm going to put you down for a second. This thing's wearing me out. We'll put it back to choke. There it goes. Ooh, I just had it for a second. Alright, give me a second. Okay, so I got it running a little bit, but it needs a carburetor adjustment. It runs very lean when it's on idle, so I think I'll have to make another part 2 of this. But from now on, I'm gonna tackle the rest, I think.